216 Creator Studios, your gateway to professional podcasting. Whether you're a seasoned podcaster or just starting, 216 Creator Studios offers state-of-the-art podcast studios designed to meet all your recording needs. From crystal clear audio quality to a comfortable creative space, we've got you covered. With fully equipped rooms, expert support, and flexible booking options, you can focus on what matters most, your content. Join us and bring your voice to life in the best environment for podcast creation. 216 Creator Studios is here to help you create something extraordinary.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Cappuccino on another episode of Roger That Chronicles. Hey, listen, if you like what you see here today, make sure to go to the old Google. I can't even talk today. Right? Google that YouTube tab. Don't forget to hit 216 Creator Studios, like, share, subscribe. We appreciate your support at all times, especially for our veteran show and for the veterans that are out there. Feel free to share this to anybody and everybody because we are trying to change the tide. Chris Boston's in the house. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Not too bad. You know, the weather here in the Midwest, right?
Do we want to go there?
It's going to be super freezing cold, and then you can barbecue the next day. I have no idea. It's Chicago weather, so it's nothing but cold and construction. That's how that works, right? But I'm going to be heading out to California soon. You know, bless the souls out there in California with the fires. We are thinking about you. Yes. We are going to record some concert stuff. It sounds a little bit like I'm going to go record concert stuff while people are burning. That's not exactly what I'm saying, folks. But I do want to see if I can get some video of it to show what it's really like for these people. You know, what a horrible, horrible scenario that is. Yeah. And so blessed are thou to those that need it the most, right?
Yes.
So what do we got today, Chris?
Well, I just wanted to recap who I am. I'm Chris Boston with New Life Ministry and Outreach. We go by NLM&O because that is such a huge mouthful. And we are an organization for veterans. And we have a progressive and proactive approach for them as they are transitioning from the military into civilian life. So, and we focus on the holistic well-being of the veteran. So, on our last episode, we talked with military moms. We wanted to give, I'm a military mom, we wanted to give our perspective as we send our babies off to boot camp and sign them over to the government, you know. Yeah. So that was a real interesting show. It was neat to get different perspectives from the different branches. Yeah. So I thought today we'd talk about what is boot camp, you know. So today we've got a couple U.S. Army active duty soldiers. You're called soldiers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I have a Marine. I don't know all the right words for all the different branches. Yeah. Forgive me. So we have Kevin over here. Yeah, Kevin. And you've been with the U.S. Army for about almost 10 years, almost 10 right? Years, yep. Yep. Wow. And then we have Staff Sergeant Mendez over here, who's been here with the U.S. Army for about 8 years.
Yep, 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Going on 9.
Wow. So how's that going for y'all?
It's going well. So I enlisted as a 15 whiskey UAV operator. Then I did that for 6.5 years. And at a certain point in your military career, you're going to end up going to be like a drill sergeant or a recruiter or some type of broadening assignment, perhaps an instructor. So now I'm out recruiting here in Great Crystal Lake, Chicago area.
Very good. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Me, I enlisted as a 13th Fox, which is a forward observer. For those who don't know, I never thought I'd be in the military. To be honest, I thought I'd do the whole college thing, play basketball, football, something, and just progress that way. But I'm happy I took the turn and joined the Army. Was a forward observer for about 8 years. Then got DA selected to become a recruiter. And I've been a recruiter here since 2022.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming.
I wanted to ask too, your son or daughter?
My son.
Your son, Marine?
Yes.
Oh man. How long was
Yes.
he in, or is it?
He served 2 tours and he got out in 2016.
Yeah. Do you love it? You like it?
It's like all things. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't wait to get out, kind of a thing. And then it's
Yeah.
like,
The
what?
roller coaster.
Yeah, it is.
Highs and lows.
Life is like that in general anyway, no
Yeah.
matter where we're at.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though. See, and that's a cool thing too. Like, people don't know, like, it's the little things like that too that connects us.
Mhm.
And you don't know whose like family's been in or who is currently in, and then that's one easy thing to icebreaker.
Right.
Start
Right.
conversations, so.
Right. And he had an interesting transition
Yeah.
as he came back to civilian life because it's different. He's a different person,
Yeah.
And so we actually shared that big long story on a Let's Talk episode.
Yes, Let's Talk Local. It's our
Yes.
community show. that we do.
Nice.
Yeah. So and that's what kind of put me in this place of trying to help other veterans as they're transitioning. And that's
Yeah.
why our approach is proactive,
Yeah. That's awesome.
to get them connected right away when
Yeah.
they get out.
That's so cool too. Yeah. Because things that we see too as like recruiters who like, especially when veterans want to get back in, right?
Mhm.
We don't have a lot of proactive measures, right? We have a lot of reactive measures.
Right.
And
Right.
that's also what you're doing. Seriously.
Right.
It's
Thank
fantastic.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
Before you start, I actually have a quick question and
Okay.
a comment. Number one, my comment would be I feel like the most out of shape person in the room right now. So that's number one. Let's just start there. I've been sucking it in this whole time. And, I blame your Christmas cookies because they were fantastic.
crack
Oh
cookies.
man, you don't even know. My question for both of you is, I'm sure you both have nicknames, and I'm going to out you on those right now.
Yeah.
And can you tell us what your nicknames are and why that is your nickname?
So in the aviation community, we have nicknames. We call them call signs. So your call sign is you don't pick it. It's assigned to you based off a funny accident that happened to you. So my call sign was Twinkle Toes because
Nice.
So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's tough.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, no, none of them were good. But the story behind that was
Do it, Chris. Do it.
so the story behind that was that my very first field exercise, we were unloading like 50 liter fuel barrels out of a truck, and one of them got dropped on my toe, and it swelled up to like the size of a golf ball. And one of the SF medics had to come out and heated up a needle and stuck it through my big toe. And I was like walking around I was walking around weird for like the next 3 weeks. But yeah, so Twinkle Toes, that was my call sign for 6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry I asked. Okay, well, now that everybody knows that out there in the
No shame. No shame.
That's right. What about you?
Well, My nickname in the military is Legs. Well, which is a funny story. I didn't get it in the military. I actually got it in like middle school, I think. So there was a math teacher of mine, and she told me if I could get 100% on this math test, that I didn't have to take. I want to say like the final exam or something, right? But if I didn't, I'd have to shave my legs. So, but it was kind of funny too because my last name is Leganier and it's Leg, starts with exactly, right? So obviously I didn't get the 100 on the test.
Right.
Shaved my legs, had and I was living in Florida at the time, so it's hot, so everyone gets to see the legs.
Yeah.
And that name stuck with me ever since, man. And then coming to the military, basic training, I've heard it all: legs, lega, everything, but legs has always stayed.
So that stuck. So they didn't try to give you a nickname in the military?
No.
I already got one.
And the cool thing too is I don't even tell no one to call me Legs. It just they see my last name immediately. It's either Leg or Legs. Point blank period. Yeah.
That's because it's easier to say that than the whole name
Yeah, for sure.
and saying it wrong.
Oh, fun. All right, that's all I really have on that. I just had to ask because I know how fun quick those. I don't even know.
I didn't even know that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's gonna get back.
Oh yeah, that's going straight back to the office. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're in trouble. All right.
That's hilarious.
That is funny.
So boot camp, right? We're talking boot camp.
Yep.
Yeah, boot camp. So what is boot camp?
So for the Army, boot camp for us is called Basic Combat Training, BCT. It's about 10 weeks long. It's 9 weeks, 4 days. That 4 days could be longer if you're in reception for a little bit longer. But it's the time for actual basic training is 9 weeks. And it goes through 3 phases, red, white, and blue phase. Each phase is 3 weeks long.
Yep.
And you're just progressing as a soldier, becoming a soldier throughout that 9 weeks.
And so what are the values that they're learning, as well as obviously all the drills and everything?
Okay. So the values that they instill are the Army values. That we use the acronym leadership for it. So loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage, and integrity. So they're learning all those Army values, and those are being instilled into them, how to live the Army way, how to be a soldier, and like how to live that lifestyle.
Yeah, that's good because you probably have people from all different backgrounds, and to get them all to
On the same
work
page.
together.
Yeah. It's difficult at first. And to everyone coming in, I like to use an analogy. It's like a crawl, walk, run, right? Those 3 weeks or those 9 weeks, right? So that crawl phase, when you get in, it's the culture shock, right? It's the learning how to understand that they're not yelling specifically to you, but it's at everyone to induce a stressful environment to show how you would act, right?
Interesting.
And it's a funny thing too, because you never know how you're gonna act under stress, especially if it's not something you're not used to, right? So getting yelled at mom is a different type of stress.
Oh yeah,
Than being yelled at.
you're used to that.
Yeah, than being yelled at by Drill Sergeant Mendez or Drill Sergeant Legs. You know what I mean? So it's a completely different thing. And then leaning on someone else that you don't even know to be like, hey man, like, can you help me out with this?
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. It's a very cool thing, unique thing. Unique thing for sure.
And then after the crawling,
yes, then you have the walk. So that crawling phase, right? It's it goes to you finding out where you're gonna stay, right? Sleeping schedules, how long you have to eat, right? Uniform, how to wear your uniform, right? Movement, facing movements, directions,
Learning the rank structure,
right? Learning how to properly speak to higher leadership. And stuff like that.
and the whole language and all the acronyms.
Absolutely. Oh,
so many acronyms.
so many acronyms. Oh my God.
I thought
Yeah.
that was bad in the tech.
Yeah, no. If we say an acronym, we have an acronym for everything.
It could mean so many things because some jobs like have same acronyms that mean completely different things, right? And then you go through that walk phase where they start to teach you and implement things, right? So you do So they give you a weapon, right? They're teaching you how to hold that weapon now. Now you're doing more physical exercises. They're teaching you how to run, right? They're giving you PT tests, showing you where you started and your progression, right? So things of that nature in the walk phase. You did anything else I'm missing? Anything?
Yeah. So the crawl, walk, run, that's basically like the red, white, and blue phases.
Yeah.
So like you said, for the crawl phase, you're learning everything. They're teaching you everything, baby steps. The walk phase is more you putting into practice and you're not being evaluated on it yet. The blue phase is when you're being evaluated, like how familiar are you with your weapon system?
Yes, sir.
How fast can you take it apart? Like where are you in your PT progression? Basically just going from civilian, doesn't know anything about the military, doesn't know anything about soldiering, and molding them into a soldier over those 9 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
That walk phase too is like you're doing so many team building events, right? That normal people, like, we don't do, right? Unless you work in like, one of the like fire department, police department, something that you need literal team cohesion.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that. So we do, what's it called? A confidence climb. And then, or you do
the obstacle course, you do
course.
FTXs together, you'll get into like squads and you'll do like group land navigation. You'll go out.
Yep.
So when they're teaching you land navigation, they teach the classroom instruction in white phase, in red phase. In white phase, you're going out in a group and doing land navigation together as a team. And then blue phase, you're doing individual land navigation on your own with your compass and map and whatnot.
Yeah. At night and then during the day. Yeah. Yeah. So it's very different. It's very different.
I've had.
Yeah, and it's like the whole. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, it's like all these different areas are being taught at the same time as well. The individual person, how to work well with others and how to be there for somebody else and to lean on somebody else, but then also being independent.
Oh man, absolutely. Like me going in, I can only speak for myself, right? Me going into basic training, I knew the physical part wasn't going to hurt me, but it was the mental and the team aspect of it, right? I played basketball and football and I got that team cohesion, but being a part of the military, it's a different type of feeling, right? Like when you play sports and you think of the bigger picture as a team, you're thinking of, all right, I need to win in this specific area, right? When you're doing it in the military, it's like this specific area and you have a future goal in mind, right? So you're thinking on like two different levels.
Wow.
And it's something that you really got to work on and just keep at it. Yeah.
So was that your most challenging
aspect? Sure. Yeah. In different cultures too. Because, where I'm from, I didn't meet a lot of different people. And then I think my drill sergeant did on purpose too. So my battle buddy, that's what we call our teammates, our battle buddy, he was from Washington and he's never met a black person. Ever.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, ever, right? And it's so funny. I still talk to him to this day, right? He's out the military now, but he says to me, he's like, man, I don't know why they made us battle buddies. I've never talked to a black person before. And and I'm just like, man, this is going to be rough. Like, this is going to be rough. He slept right above me and we did everything together. And then I remember him saying towards the end of the day, he's like, because lack of better terms, right? He was ignorant in the sense of he didn't think people of color, that's just the environment he grew up in, right? He was ignorant in the sense of he didn't think people of color could, I guess, keep the same standard, right?
Wow.
And they'll do that to you, right? If your drill sergeant identifies something that might be someone's weakness, they're going to purposely put your weakness in front of you.
They're going to poke that.
Yeah.
Poke it.
Well, yeah, because you have to deal with it and learn what's right.
Absolutely.
I mean, people are people.
Because you never know where you're going to be, right?
Right.
You never know where you're going to be, how you need to act, who you need to talk to. So, we end up becoming really good friends. He ended up marrying a girl of color. And man, it's super funny. So, we're good now. So
That's cool. That's cool.
I had the pleasure of interviewing some high level.
Yeah.
And in the U.S. Army. And when it came to talking about basic, their big thing was it's because everybody says, well, they're there to break you down and then to rebuild you.
Yeah.
And he basically told me that's not true. He's like, this is about, and I love how you bring up sports, right? To build a team. He's like, we're not building a team, we're building a family.
Yeah.
And so they're teaching you, number one, how to not panic. And number two, how to build a brother, a sisterhood. Because that person next to you has to have your six.
Yes.
And you need to let them have your six. And trust that. And so when that shit hits the fan, you know that no matter what, and listen, you win together and you fail together.
For sure.
And you guys do it with pride. Either way you do it, right? So basic training, yes, a lot of the learning stuff that you guys had to go through, the ranks, the acronyms, all that stuff. Yeah, that's all the stuff that get you to communicate. But I think at the end of the day, it's really carrying you to a point of new family.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you bring up that your battle buddy has never seen a black man. Which makes me giggle a little bit. Like, really? And a U.S. Army person told me this because he always wore skulls, skull rings, skull bracelets, skull shirts. And I asked him, they said, why do you wear all the skull stuff? He's like, because when we all die, that's what we all look like. It doesn't matter what's on the outside. We're all brothers and sisters at heart, man. We're all the same. And so, venture out to build the relationships with those people. Now, you might not see half the people from basic, right? But you still stay in touch, don't you?
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's the first thing we do when you get your phone back in basic. You get your phone and you're like, hey, what's your Facebook look like? What's that? And then I do like that you bring up the family part, right? The biggest way, in my opinion, that they do build that is through mass punishment, right? So if someone messes up, like
everybody has to.
So now,
so it's like a shared trouble, like a shared burden, like shared suffering together, and it brings you closer.
Right.
That instills some of the Army
because you want to encourage the other person. Hey, let's not do this again.
That instills like leadership, accountability, integrity, like all these things that the values that the Army tries to instill in you and will instill in you in basic training, right? So like if someone brings contraband, like you're not supposed to bring, you get some food. If you bring a packet of peanut butter back, right? Someone's going to tell on you. Because no one wants to be in trouble. No one wants to be in trouble, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a thing.
We had a guy steal an entire box of MREs. Hit it in the ceiling tiles. Oh, we were getting doing some push-ups and doing Y squats for like probably an hour and a half until he fessed up to where the MREs were.
So what was your most challenging?
So my most challenging was actually the physical. So when I came into the Army, I was overweight. I was playing video games like 10 hours a day. I thought, I'm going to be a UAV operator. It's basically the same thing. I'm just playing a video game. It's nothing like that anyways, but it's not like that at all.
I resemble that remark.
It's not like playing a video game. I wish it were more like playing a video game. But I didn't play any sports in high school. So for me, the physical was much harder because I failed every PT test except for the last one. Like the last one, I was like, oh man, it was the sit-ups. The sit-ups kept getting me. Like my run time got better. My push-ups got better. My sit-ups, I was maxing push-ups in the run at the end of basic. It's just the sit-ups. It's right there every time. So the final one to pass basic training, I was doing sit-ups every day for like 3 weeks, just trying to get them better. So for me, the physical is the most challenging. Some people it's the mental, some people it's the emotional, like they're missing their family a lot. Some people are very close with their family and like they've been sheltered their whole life. So they're very like going through the emotions of basic training, being homesick and whatnot. You don't have your phones. You get your phone like every cycle. So when you go from red phase to white, you get your phone for 10 minutes. You can call home. When you go from white to blue, you get your phone. At the end of blue, you get your phone so you can make family day arrangements for when your family comes to graduation. But everybody's going to have their different struggles, but they're all going to overcome them. So
Right. So what was your favorite? We'll start with you. What was your favorite memory from boot
Basic
camp?
training.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Basic training.
Oh man. I don't want to say it's my favorite. I think it's one of my funniest moments.
Oh, that's a different question.
Oh, that's a different
Okay, you want to do a funniest one?
No,
We'll do the
we
funniest.
can do the favorite. We can do the favorite. I think actually no, yeah, I do have a favorite. What my favorite moment from basic training is not even at basic training, is during reception. One of the guys that ended up being my literal brother, one of my closest friends. We went to the same high school, but we didn't meet. He was a grade ahead of me, right? I moved from New York down to Florida. I went to this high school in Southwest Florida. All my friends were a little bit older because my cousin went to the school. So I was friends with him, all right, and hung out with him. After I ended up going to basic training, another one of my buddies says, hey, my friend Lewis he's going to the Army too. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, that's weird. We ended up meeting. We've never spoke before. We ended up meeting at basic training reception. And he looks at me, I look at him, and I'm like, he's like, your legs? And I'm like, you're Lewis? And the reason why I knew is because like they used to make fun of Lewis that his arms are so long that even if he's walking up straight, he's touching the ground. so I'm like, I only know one guy who could touch the ground standing up. So I'm like, hey, is that you, Lewis? And then he's like, yo, your legs. And we ended up being, which is so crazy, in the same platoon or the same company, the same platoon, the same section, everything. He slept on the bunk right next to me with one of my friends that I enlisted with. And that was my favorite thing about basic training, it was so crazy because he enlisted out in Texas.
Wow.
And it was just like divine intervention. Like, that was crazy.
That's cool.
Small
Now,
world.
what is reception? Is that like graduation or
No,
what is?
So reception is when you get there, they give you the lowdown on how everything's going to run, right?
Oh, so it's when you first get in.
Yes.
Okay.
You get your
Okay.
hair shaved if you're male.
Yeah.
Right. They make you tuck in your shirt if it's not already tucked. They make you stand up. They give you a brief synopsis on what facing movements is going to be. They give you the rundown on what times you can, go to the latrine or XYZ. All right. You do your SGLI, which is like your life insurance.
Oh, yeah.
And all that stuff. And
Paperwork.
Go through medical and get your shots.
your uniforms. And then that's where you learn what basic training company that you're going to go to.
But that was kind of cool that you had like a friend.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was gonna, it was crazy. It was actually
That is
crazy.
cool.
Yeah.
So there was like you already had somebody that you knew that you could be like, what the heck did we do? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no.
Oh, you.
Oh,
for
for
sure.
Oh, like, what? What would it be?
You think about that every day up until probably like the last couple of days. You're like, oh wow, dude. You know.
So how about you? What was your favorite? Or no, yeah, that's favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite part of basic training was probably just like the melting pot, like the mixing of all different cultures. Like my battle buddy, he had already been there, done all that. So he was actually in the 09 Lima program. So he was coming from Afghanistan. He had already been an interpreter for 6 years for the Army in Afghanistan. And they brought him back to the US so that he could be an 09 Lima in the Army and get his citizenship. And just, I knew if I followed that guy, I wasn't going to fail anything. He'd been there, done that, been in firefights, done medical. He wasn't going to fail anything medical. Like, I was like, as long as I stick with my battle buddy and copy whatever he's doing, he's been there, done that. And like, just basically all the cultures that just meshing together is very interesting. And that was my favorite part.
Yeah. Now, did you have like any, well, I guess not, because, were there language barriers with people?
Not really language barriers, just experience barriers. So people from all different types of ages, people think basic training is going to be like, 18-year-olds fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that join later in life, like him, like he was 28. You'll see the occasional like 30-year-old, 32-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And So just like the maturity barrier, you'll learn to be more mature from them. You watch what they're doing, how they handle stress is different from how an 18-year-old or 19-year-old is going to handle that stress.
Right,
So
right.
if you emulate them, you'll be fine.
So you just gleaned.
Oh yeah, I was a people watcher. I was like, okay, who's succeeding and who's like kind of crumbling a little bit. I'm like, okay, I need to just follow them, do what they do.
Smart,
I was super
smart.
quiet. I was the gray man. I didn't want to be noticed. I was like, I'm just gonna fly under the radar and pass everything.
Awesome. Okay.
Quick question. So in a statement, actually, somebody that I knew that came out of basic. Now this kid, before he went in, was the biggest slob. Most unorganized, probably should have been ADHD. And the whole nine yards. When he came out, everything was meticulous. Everything. You know, when he went out with us and we went to the bar or whatever, it was his gig line was perfect. Right.
You see why the moms were so amazed at graduation?
Right. I tried that. And so, you know, it's one of those things where there's that lesson learned. And now listen, being a mom or a dad, and I'm a father of two, I can try to tell my kids, you know, and teach them or try to, but they don't have that pride in it. You know, that it's that forceful, once again, that brother and sister thing, to where if one's off, you're all in the trash, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. Now in basic, now I don't know for the different branches if basics, if a lot of that's the same or different. I know like U.S. Navy has what they call the gas tank, where you've got to walk through. Take your mask off. Did you guys have to?
Yeah, we had to do that too.
Can you explain your experience to that?
Oh yeah, funny. You know, I do have a lot of funny things about this. I was one of those guys who the gas chamber didn't bother me, like with my mask off.
Really?
So my drill sergeant said, like, hey, you know, like once in a while, there's some people that it's just not gonna really bother. So you get in there, they teach you how to seal it, put on your mask, right? You gotta do it under a certain amount of time, seal your mask and all that stuff, tighten it back up, and then to make sure no gas is in there, right? And then they have you take a deep breath, and then you take it off, and then at least for my basic training, they had us sing the Army song, and then say our name, rank, and where we're at in basic training, if I remember correctly. And I was saying it completely fine. I was coughing a little bit, but I was just like, yeah, I was good.
Wow.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, I looked to my left and my right.
They're all
People throwing up.
That's how it was.
Eyes watering. I'm just like, oh God.
Oh yeah. If you had a cold going, like, because sometimes you get sick during basic just because, you know, bringing everybody together, you're sleeping in base. If you had like any kind of cold or flu, it was gone after you went through the gas chamber.
Wow.
You cleaned out your system, Everybody was resentful of the people like you that weren't affected. Cause like I'd get like, we had to say the Soldier's Creed, and I'd get like 2 sentences in, and I folded. I was like running for the door, and we didn't have anybody in our chamber that was unaffected by the CS gas, but there was someone in the very last one that didn't affect him at all. Yeah. And everybody was like, oh, it's like just like slightly resentful, like, oh, why do you get off? You didn't go through the suffering. You didn't suffer like us.
Hey, you know, Legs, I can see your battle buddy being like, I think black people are.
I know, right? He literally, you know, the funny thing you say that, he literally said, he's like, Legs, what did you do? And he's like, did you hold your breath? And I was like, no, bro, I'm just breathing. I don't know, man. I have no idea. I've never been in the gas chamber before.
Extra filters or something.
Yeah, and yeah, they had everything on video. And I remember, you know, after buying it, when you get out of basic training, I'm looking at it, and I come out there, I'm just, you know, they have you flail your arms and stuff. I'm just like looking around, like, and I look at everyone, just, oh my God, I'm like, man.
Yeah, my buddies told me it just starts flowing out of your nose.
Yeah.
Your eyes are burning, you're dry heaving.
Yeah.
Trying to get it out of your
Some people were throwing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's rough, man.
You said
That's
you're from
nasty.
Florida?
I'm from New York.
New York.
But
New York.
Yeah, but I moved to Florida.
It kind of explains the quality of the air.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I mean?
No offense to New York. You know, I'm just saying.
I'm used to the gas.
or the trash.
Yeah, right.
So what did you dislike?
Fire guard.
Oh my.
Okay.
goodness.
Imagine this. You're sitting there, you're finally getting to go to sleep after a long day of working out, learning, and your sleep is limited in basic training. And then somebody just comes up to your bunk in the middle of the night, shines a red light right in your eye and says, "It's your turn for fire guard. You have to get up in 10 minutes." And you're like, oh, God. Like your sleep is interrupted. So your entire bay is doing fire guard. It's usually, so they say it's to like, keep watch for fires. There's fire alarms in there. There's sprinklers. It's really just to make sure nobody's like sneaking out, going.
Teaching accountability.
Yeah, teaching accountability.
Yeah.
So they're on rotating shifts. So every 30 minutes, somebody else is getting woken up to go, stand by the door. And it is my least favorite part of basic because I value my sleep very much.
So how many times did you have to do that?
Every day, every night you're on fire guard. So for like 30 minutes at like 11:30 at night, my shift was 11:30 to midnight. So I'd go to sleep at 9 and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting woken up in 2.5 hours. I'm getting woken up in 2.5 hours and I'm going to have to go stand by that door. And then I'm going to have to wake someone else up 30 minutes later and try and go back to sleep.
I wouldn't like that either. I love my sleep.
You get used to it because like, so REM cycles are only, your REM cycles are 2 REM cycles of 4 hours. So if you have that if you're like right at that 4 hour mark for fire guard, you're usually like a little bit more unaffected because you're getting your first 4 hours and then you're getting the second half of your 4 hours. So it's really just about trying to finesse to get that time slot. You either want the first, dead in the middle, or the last fire guard shift.
I remember, people.
But you don't get to pick that, do you?
So they let the bays. So we had a bay leader, and the bay leader would make the roster. Yeah. So you just had to, hey, I'll give you my skills from the MRE. I'll give you my skills from the MRE if you put me on. You're bribing people. Anything you can do.
Different times.
So you're learning bribery in the army, huh? No, just kidding.
No, you're looking out for your battle
skills.
Hey, battle buddy.
Survival. I need my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a good one, dude. I wouldn't even think about that.
What was your least favorite?
It had to be I am like crazy scared of heights, or I was. No, I still am. But I think it would have to be Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder. Or the confidence wall.
I didn't mind the wall.
I didn't mind
it.
You
want climbing the rope up?
Until like he was like, "Hey man, you got to be like parallel to the ground on it." And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
So there's Jacob's ladder is like, I want to say what is like 30 or 40 foot ladder.
It's 30. Yeah.
30 or 40 foot ladder, probably more like 30. Each beam that you go on, it's literally a ladder, but it gets longer and longer as you get up. Now I'm 6'1", right? I am climbing this thing, and these beams are getting large, like farther and farther apart. And I get up there, and I'm like, brother, like I'm here, but I can't feel nothing down here. And I'm like, how am I gonna do this?
I need Lewis's arms.
Yeah. And right before I did it, and I remember there was a female in my basic training class. Her name was White. She was like 4'11". This poor girl.
Yeah, they gotta jump.
She had to shimmy on the side, grab the ladder, and I was like, "There's no way I'm doing this thing. Like, there's no way. I'm not afraid of falling. I'm afraid of the ground." Like,
they have pads at the bottom. By the way, they have like inflatable pads, so even if you do fall, you're gonna be fine.
But still, you're up there, and I'm just like, I don't know about that. But yeah, that was probably my least favorite, and then fire guard for sure. Fire guard. And about the fire guard thing too, I think the most annoying thing is the poking when you don't wake up.
No, they just they would just red lens us in the face.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
my goodness. Yeah, that's definitely had to be my least.
Just so annoying to make sure you're awake and you're getting up.
Oh man. God, I'd be like, dude, please.
Yeah. And then the person you're waking up for the next fire guard shift they're gonna take their sweet time. It's gonna run into yours. They're gonna get like they're going to be 5 minutes late to their shift, even though they're 10 feet away from you. They're taking their time, getting their boots on and everything.
You know what? I rescind that. I'll tell you my least.
Okay.
Is when you're in that bay sleeping with all those guys, how everyone is coughing, farting, snoring, waking up. You hear flushes going, like toilets flushing, and I'm just like trying to sleep. And I'm just like, Like just man,
Yep.
and then that's probably my least favorite part, to be honest.
Or like after doing a long day of like basic training,
Yeah.
and like nobody immediately, you'll have like that section of your bay that doesn't go to sleep. They talk
Oh my
after lights out,
Yeah.
and you're just, I'm a light sleeper. I need
I'm a
absolute
very
silence.
light sleeper.
I need absolute silence to go to sleep. So when they're staying up 20 minutes after lights out, talking about the day, talking about
Yeah.
how much they miss their girlfriend or their wife
Mhm.
or their dog, whatever, and you're like, like there's gonna be somebody in the bay that's like, shut up,
Yeah.
you know, kindly or a little bit more explicitly,
Uh-huh.
but yeah. So fire guard though, man.
Oh, shit. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So what about the funniest?
The funniest? Ooh, mine. So I had a infantry drill sergeant.
Okay, we got it. Is it the funniest thing that happened to you?
Yes, it's the funniest thing that happened to me.
Okay.
Well, correct. Well, correct.
It is the funniest thing. It is the funniest thing that happened to me. It was right before graduation, and this was the same drill sergeant. I asked him about the blue ring around his hat, his cap, and he said he was a cold weather ranger. And I asked him, "Where's your ranger tab, then, drill sergeant?" That was a mistake. But before graduation, I asked him another dumb question, and he just held his hand out, and he's like, "Put your neck here." So I'm like, "Roger, drill sergeant." I put my neck there. He's like, "Now put your hand around mine." And I was like, "Roger, drill sergeant." He's like, "Choke yourself." he had just gotten back from air assault school. He was having no lip. He had no time for jokes and nothing. Because he just got done getting smoked at air assault school doing Y squats for 10 days, and he wasn't having none of it. So I was like, just choking myself. But yeah, that was the funniest thing that happened to me.
So were you like in a line with a bunch of other guys, or was that just like kind of?
I think we were turning in a piece of equipment that was issued to us before we did our graduation stuff. So we were in a line, and I said something snarky, and he was like, "Choke yourself."
So then other people want to laugh.
Oh yeah,
but
no, they
then they're
didn't.
like,
Oh,
no, they
laughed.
don't.
They laughed.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. So towards the end of basic training, your drill sergeant's kind of lit up a little bit, so you're not going to.
Oh,
like
okay.
the very first day, don't laugh at anything. You know,
Oh
like,
yeah. No.
But as you progress, you know, they start to see you more as a soldier,
Yep.
and they're going to give you a little bit more of that respect. So you can the last week of basic training, you can get a giggle in here and there. Some stuff's just going to be so funny, everybody laughs, and even like the drill sergeants, they're going to laugh too.
Breaking character a little bit.
Yeah, no, they broke character probably like 2 or 3 times throughout basic training for me. But yeah, some stuff's just so funny, you gotta laugh at.
Do you have nightmares about that still?
No, not at all.
Well, I bet you'll remember getting Darth Vader.
No.
You know, right. That's definitely a memory.
That was the funniest.
Yeah, I think when you go into work tomorrow, it might be a little bit different.
Oh yeah, we're cooked, buddy.
I'm so cooked. I'm sharing all the embarrassing stories.
It's all coming out.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, your turn now.
Funniest thing at the time, it wasn't funny, but now it's funny. So I actually got Article 15 in basic training. Yeah, but it wasn't my fault. Jeez. But so Article 15 is like a UCMJ action that pretty much states like, hey, you did something wrong, and now it's on paper, and if you do it again, you're done for. Right?
Oh, so it's like a big mark you don't want to get.
Exactly. Yeah. So I got it for my drill sergeant going through my locker and finding a love letter. Right. But I had no idea it was a love letter to me. So, you know, she or he, I don't remember which drill sergeant was. All I remember is like we're all in the front leaning rest, which is the push-up position. And no, she was reading. Yes, it was her. And she was reading the love letter. And in my head, I'm just like, what's the dummy that like got that? What an idiot. Like, and then like, she goes, Lega, get up here. And I'm like, huh? Like me? And then she's reading this letter in front of everybody. So there was a female in my platoon that had a crush on me. And sometimes the females would come into our bay while we were cleaning our weapons, or our drill sergeants wanted a common area to teach us something, right? So we'd go to the base. Apparently, one of the females slipped a love letter in my locker. Had no idea, not one clue, right? And I'm pleading. I'm like, Joe Sergeant, it wasn't me. I have no idea. They're like, yeah, all this sex stuff in here. When do you have time for this? And I'm just like, I don't. Like, I have no idea. And oh my God, it was crazy. I get pissed off. We go down there to formation. The girl tries to fight me because, like, I'm like, I don't like you, dude. Like, I don't like you. I don't know what's going on. And then now the funny part is a rumor started in basic training saying that this girl liked me and tried to apparently it was like he tried to have sex with her for peanut butter. That was the whole basis of the thing because I had peanut butter packet. And is that easy apparently. And now looking back, I got an article 15. I got an article 15. I was so upset. I'm like, I didn't do nothing. Like, this is not on me. And all my friends at basic training, they're making fun of me and all this stuff. And then now I can laugh at it.
Oh,
like,
I would have called you peanut butter cup.
Oh, some people did. Some people did. And man, like, I was so pissed. But now, like, looking back, I'm like, oh, that's actually funny.
Well, not for nothing. Before I bring home a jar of peanut butter. 30 years. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Hey, listen, that's a story. Especially the fact that you had no idea.
Not a clue.
That it was even.
Not a clue.
And you're sitting there thinking, what a fool to have somebody do that.
Like, I'm like, what an idiot. Like,
Oh, you'd be so surprised. Like, especially on mail days, some of the stuff these like parents and like significant others are sending their soldiers is like like love letters that they read aloud. They'll send them like, you know, sex toys, and they'll get clowned by the drill sergeant. God. Yeah, and they'll get mailed all these things that are they'll make a joke out of it 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was the mom that I listened and paid attention. And so I knew those letters were read out loud in front of everybody.
Oh, they didn't care, man. They would, I remember there was, because there's no explicit pictures that's supposed to be, you know, in the packages. So if there's a picture, the drill sergeant has to see it, right? To make sure it's good. I remember, man, there was this guy that was a furry. Oh. I had no idea what that was at the time. And I'm like, what is that? But he got some pictures from his girlfriend, and I'm over here like, and the drill sergeant's like, you are not allowed to have this. And I'm just like,
out here in the whole persona outfit.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness, like people do this. Like,
you know, some of the parents and family, they do it on purpose.
Yes.
Especially if they
if they've gone through it before, they're like, oh yeah, they need to experience that.
Yeah, if you have a prior service like family member, they'll 100% send stuff with you.
Yeah.
Stuff that sent me candy, he sent me all the stuff that he knew. My drill sergeant was like, huh, legs again, huh? And I'm just, oh God, I'm tired of standing out. Please. But yeah. My stepdad was crazy.
That's great.
Look how boring life would have been without that.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes I'd like to take a step back and be a part of it
was great. Being the gray man was great.
Yeah. They always stick out, and I'm just like, oh God, please.
So who is someone that you really looked up to during that time in boot camp?
For me,
basic training.
You want to go?
Yeah, if you have one.
So for me, it was my battle buddy. Just because he had experience already, and he was like more mature in life. He was 28 years old already, and also like I feel like everybody going through basic training is gonna have one drill sergeant they really look up to.
For sure.
For me, that was my senior drill sergeant. He like had a great outlook on life and like where he came from to where he was now. He was 3 years from retirement, and he had a plan. He was going to get out, use his retirement, and travel the world. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. I still see his Facebook. I still see his Facebook updates of him in like Korea, Thailand, just backpacking around Asia. I'm like, man, he's really doing it. He had a plan in life, and he had a plan. He executed it. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I had a couple, but it was Drill Sergeant Tato, and Drill Sergeant Prince, RIP to Drill Sergeant Prince. And I say him because I'm a 13 Fox or forward observer, and he was a forward observer as well. And I had no prior knowledge as to what this job was, right? I went to the recruiting office. All I said is like, I want them behind the desk. I want to shoot stuff. I want to blow stuff up. And that's what they showed me. And I was like, dope. So I come to meet Drill Sergeant Prince, which is a forward observer as well. He pulls me off to the side. He's like, hey, man, you know, to get a leg up into your job training and into your unit, you need to learn how to do these specific tasks. And he pulled all the 13 Fox, and he would teach us in the spare time he had during basic training, you know?
Wow.
And then Drill Sergeant, yeah, and, you know, God rest his soul, because the guy was just a hero. He passed away by helping someone in a domestic violence case, and the guy ended up killing him. But the guy was just a great dude, man. Great, amazing guy. Fantastic guy. And, yeah, we looked up to him very, very, very hard. Like, he was this fantastic guy.
That's huge also, because like the drill sergeants, they're on like worse sleep schedules than you, because they have to pull 20. They have to have a drill sergeant at the company. They have to have a drill sergeant there at all times. So some of these drill sergeants are functioning on like 4 hours of sleep because they have to keep watch over you, make sure you don't get into trouble. So like their free time is much more limited than anyone can possibly imagine. So for them to take that time to teach him was huge.
Yeah.
And then I'd say Drill Sergeant Tato too. Not in the sense of like, oh, he was a great, cool guy, but he had like the driest humor. Like he was like, you ever had that parent or that grandparent that you just didn't want to be disappointed, them to be disappointed in you? He was that guy. And he asked me, he's like, what's your job? And I was like, oh, I'm a 13 Fox. He's like, you're gonna die. I said, huh? He's like, my life. And he did it to see how I would react. He said, yeah, on my last deployment, my 13 Fox got split in half. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God. And then he pulled me.
What did I do?
He's like, I'm just kidding, man. I just want to see how you would react.
Oh, that reminds me of a prank our drill sergeant's pulled.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was like dry. Yeah, but his humor was so dry. And he was a Pacific Island. So his accent and everything, and you know, they're huge people. And he would just look at me. He would say the joke and just look at me. And then like I'll just be like, and then he'll just start laughing. And I'm just like, oh God.
that reminds me of a story that one of our drill sergeants pulled during basic. So we were at our second FTX during white phase, and I guess on the night before when he was on 24-hour duty, he made like an Excel spreadsheet, and he took like 40 of the 120 something soldiers that we had there, and he had two lists. He's like, these 40 soldiers fall out of formation. Y'all's units are scheduled to deploy as soon as you finish basic training. Like, keep in mind, nobody even has a unit assigned yet, but we're all so new, we don't know what he's talking about. And some of these kids were like National Guardsmen or reserves, and they're like, I just did this for college. And they were freaking out. Like, I didn't know I was going to get deployed right away. It was hilarious. Seeing like everybody, like seeing like some people like be all frantic, thinking they're going to deploy as soon as they're done with basic training. But it was wild. It was an insane prank.
And that's one of the cool things about basic training. Like, you find humor in like little things, right? And that's why I think basic training is like such a cool environment. The culture shock is real, but the culture like reveal like is also real as well, because you learn so many other things from different people, different types of humor, right? The ways like I picked up, you know, being a certain type of way of like how my drill sergeants acted, right? So like I was a goofy guy, you know, and after seeing my drill sergeants, I was like, you know, I need to like step up my act a little bit.
Yeah.
I need to, like, be more disciplined. So like it's a fantastic thing to like go through and triumph over, you know.
Yeah.
It's at least for me, like all those funny moments, like I would have never ever thought I could do any of these things or have these memories in basic training, because I thought going in it's like law and order, no fun, this and that. And no, man, there's giggles, there's you find funny things in like just the tiniest, briefest moments, and it's super cool.
It's like that though when you have a lack of sleep, everything's funny.
Yeah, it could be medical.
That's true.
My sister and I, we would like stay up all night long, and we would think everything was so hilarious, and we were so funny too.
Yeah,
You know. and our kids. And then the next day it was like, you have to be a parent. I was like, what were we thinking? It's not wise.
I do have a question though.
Yes.
What was your scariest moment for you finding out your son wanted to join?
Good question.
So the scariest, I don't think I had a scary moment when he wanted to join. I actually was in law enforcement.
Oh,
So
you're comfortable with.
You're more supportive to it.
Yeah.
probably.
yes. And I was proud of him when he chose
Yeah.
the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
you know.
What about what?
When he was deployed, that was a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was hard because we couldn't tell anybody
Yeah.
when he was traveling.
Yep.
You know, so it was like that was hard not being able to share that with anybody,
Yeah.
you know. And then you can't hear from them until like X amount of time, because it's like, number one, you don't even know when they're traveling
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait until they say it's okay for you to have communication.
Mhm.
And that waiting was just, wow.
Gut-wrenching. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did have this one time, I woke up and it was the weirdest thing. And it was like I felt death.
Really?
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just started praying for my kid, because I was assuming it was for him, you know? And I just kept praying and praying and praying and praying. And it was kind of weird though, because it kind of was like, well, if he steps on an IED,
Mhm.
are you okay with him losing his leg? You know? And it was just like, oh my gosh. And it was just like different body parts like that. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's not okay. You know, because there were some that I said was okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, he can still, you know, get one of the prosthetic legs, you know, and still function and
Mhm.
have, you know, a
Be a part of
life
society.
afterwards, you know. But then it was like other things, even like the hand. And I was like, no, you really use your hand a lot. That's not okay. And it was just like I just kept praying, and it was so weird. But then I finally heard from him, and I was like, he didn't have any experience
fine,
whatsoever. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, yay. That was so weird. But actually, another one of his guys in his group, I was praying for him, and he had stepped on an IED. Yeah. Yeah. But he lived, and it was just like those certain things that I was like, okay. But then I was like, no more. And he has to live. He has to live. And here I thought I was praying for my own kid, and it wasn't, you know, but it's like, you don't know. And when God called you to pray for people, you pray.
You pray.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Because you don't know what they're experiencing over there.
Mhm.
You know, and then he comes home and he tells me these stories, and I'm like, la, 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 I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. I'm just glad you're home. You know, because he had, you know, lots
Mhm.
of experiences,
Was he
you know.
infantry?
Mhm.
Yeah. He a
That
gangster.
was the thing I was not happy about.
He was a gangster.
It was like
Yeah.
he scored high on
Yeah.
his ASVAB, and I was like, oh, good, you can pick anything, you know. And we're like looking at these things, and they're like, yeah, he's the right height and the right build for all these things. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Scores.
Yeah, you got
He's got the
this.
scores.
And then he's like, infantry. And I'm like, no, not that.
For some people, like the combat arms jobs, that's like a calling. Like they could score as high as they could score 99 on ASVAB, but they know that's what they want to do. They want to be the door kicker. They want to be in the action, and nothing you tell them is going to stop them from picking infantry.
Yeah, he wanted the full experience.
My mom didn't talk to me for like a month.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. So I'm Haitian, and my mom is not from America. like my family's not from America. And, you know, me telling her like, hey, I want to join the military, keeping in mind, like my stepdad was in the military for a few years. Like, and he had back surgery and all this other stuff from injuries. And she was like, no, absolutely not. You're not doing it. And then my stepdad was like, you know, if this is what you really want to do, I can talk to your mom. I said, cool. Talks to my mom, XYZ. She's like, look, I'm cool with it as long as you don't choose a combat job. Please, Lord, don't choose a combat job. I said, okay. Take the ASVAB, scores pretty well. I have like CBRN job. It has to do with like chemicals and radiation. I have like aviation jobs. I have all this other stuff. I had like the medical job that my mom wanted me to pick. And she just let me go to that recruiting office by myself. That was her biggest mistake. And I said, yo, I want something cool, man. I want to blow stuff up. I want to blow shit up. I'm here. And then
medical. That's what we're
and my recruiter being a good guy, and I'm still friends with him to this day. He's just a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, dude, your mom said, just don't choose that. Like, don't do it. I'm like, dude, I'm 18. I do what I want. Like, man. And I chose it. I ended up not telling her until like a few weeks before I left. I'm like, hey, this is my job. And she's like, what? And she didn't talk to me.
She's been like, I'm
like
looking
3
for
weeks before I
binoculars.
left. Yeah, she didn't talk to me for that full like 3 weeks. It was like in passing. Hey.
There's a lot of moms that are like that because I ran into that with
Yeah.
other moms, you know, and it's, I mean, they're just wanting their baby protected,
Absolutely.
you know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like,
I do.
You do?
I'm like, I have to support my kid
Yeah.
in his decision,
Yeah.
even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's our job as a parent, right?
Yeah. You got to
When they're 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many kids you guys have?
I have one daughter.
One daughter.
I have 2 little psychopaths.
Big
Young.
just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
I got 2 girls as well. Yeah. So, you know, and here's one of the things, and I'm glad you asked her that question because as a parent, now that you're parents,
Yes.
there's nothing more important in your life. It's a new emotion. It's a new thing. If you don't have kids, there's no way to explain it
Mhm.
unless you have it.
Oh my
Right.
God. Yes.
That new emotion that's there.
Yes.
And then your kid grows and wants to go join the service. Right. Right.
We've thought about it. We've both thought about it.
yeah.
100%.
Now,
And you
I
know-
can imagine where, you know, how putting myself into Chris's shoes,
Yeah.
because intrusive thinking
Mhm.
happens when my daughter's 16.
Yeah.
She's about to drive.
Yeah.
I'm instantly like, this girl's gonna die in an accident.
Instant. All the, yep.
I tried teaching her how to. We were in a parking lot. And I did the old TikTok question where I said, if an old man and a young girl walk out in front of you, what do you hit? She's like, well, the old man, because he's already had enough time in this world. I was like, hit the brakes, Alyssa. Hit the brakes. She's like, this isn't gonna
That's the trolley car solution.
and so
The trolley car problem.
The question didn't work. I saw that on
Yeah.
TikTok. I'm going to use that when
Yeah.
I'm in the parking lot trying to teach her, you know? And so the intrusive thinking happens.
Yes.
And if it's that you need to pray, and yes, there's always going to be somebody that your kid might know that's going to be the one injured or whatever the case may be. You
Yeah.
don't want anybody to have to go through that or injured.
Yeah.
There is also trauma left at home
Yeah.
Mhm.
because your baby
Mm-hmm.
is out there and that is your number one job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Can't
And
fix
you
the
have no
problems.
control,
Yeah.
and the unknowing kills you. So, you know, if your kids
Yeah.
and or daughter decide they were going to join the military, what were your thoughts to that?
Man. So I do get asked this question. And in all fairness, I get it. I would be terrified out of my mind. And I'd probably act or say some of the things like my mother said to me, like, please don't choose a combat job. But keep in mind, for me, I would have that experience and I would know what it's like. So I'd probably gear them more towards like different type of jobs, right? I would definitely say, hey, let's explore this college a little bit more. or if that's the case that you don't want to just do college, do the reserve, or there's no combat jobs, right? You get to come home with dad.
That's right.
You know, be a weekend warrior. You're still a warrior. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. My daughter's about to start preschool, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And be out there, and that's the start of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
become their own people. Just
Mhm.
as you, as the 18-year-old
Yeah.
kid, is I'm grown, I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
they become teenagers, you know nothing, you know everything. And the only people they will listen to are the ones that aren't you.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that's good. Even that structure that the military builds.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, all you could do is really. Someone told me once, to like, you know, kids are like having a weapon. It's like having a gun. If you pull the trigger, you hope to God that bullet goes straight, right?
Yeah.
Into the direction that you want them to go. Now it's up to you to kind of guide that bullet
Mm-hmm.
as it veers off that course a little bit, and hope they listen to you
Yeah.
for it. So open communication, transparency is always key.
Yeah.
That's what we do in my household.
Yeah.
There's no way my kids are going to the military.
Yeah.
One's on the spectrum for OCD, OCPD.
Yeah.
Everything is deemed dirty.
Yeah.
There's no way. The oldest one, well, she has authority issues,
Yeah.
as it is now, right? But she's also smart as dickens.
Yeah.
This girl is a second-degree black belt in Jung Sul Taekwondo.
Yeah.
At 16, she's labeled in Korea as well as the United States. Let me
Wow.
tell you how many jobs I had to work to pay that off. And they both know how to defend themselves. They
Yeah.
both know how to hunt. They both know how to
Hell yeah.
clean a deer, cook a deer.
Yeah.
They both know how to fish. They both know some survival tactics.
Mhm.
But they don't want anybody telling them what to do. They don't want any. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I have a feeling that's not an issue
Right.
for me, at least.
Yeah.
But I've never made it into the military.
Yeah.
You guys are the examples.
Yeah.
Right? And so, well, you did it, Dad. You know, why can't you
Yeah.
support you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be a thing to the future. I know we're already an hour 7 in.
Oh, wow.
Did you have any more questions?
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, I'm going to
We're just having fun chatting.
2 questions.
Yeah.
The first question is, if you had the option to do it again, would you?
100%. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, to be honest.
Oh, awesome answer.
Like unequivocally, yes. I'd probably tweak a little things, but I for sure 10 toes down.
That's awesome.
I was going to ask that, but they're still in.
Well,
So
basic.
nobody's.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's still in or not still in.
Yeah.
You know, that whole scenario we're talking
Right,
about.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And the second question would be, what advice would you give somebody out there in our 21-6 world
Mhm.
that is on the cuff? They would like to go.
Mhm.
They don't know if they want to go.
Yeah.
What would your advice be? You're both recruiters?
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're obviously not selling it, but you're
Yeah.
out there explaining it. Right?
Yeah.
What is the message that you would like to give anybody out there that is on that cusp? That is,
Mhm.
what is the benefit? What is the negative to it? But what is the overcoming decision for them, or helping
Yeah.
them get to where they want to be?
Yeah. I like that question. So we can dissect this in a couple ways, right? So the first way I'd like to dissect that is the meeting, right? When you have that idea that you think you want to join, right? Immediately contact the recruiter. And I say that because talking to someone is not legally binding in any way, right? Getting information can never hurt you, right? It can only guide you to, or make that little grouping a lot smaller to what you really want to do, right? So that's the first way I'd like to dissect that. The second way is, after you talk to that person, right? Listen to them. Reason being is, we literally are the subject matter experts, and we're here to help you specifically into doing what you want to do. So the reason why I say that is because we get a lot of people that want to do it, but they don't want to listen, right? They think specifically what they read on the internet, although it could be true information, but the way to get there is a little bit different than what you think, right? So I would say definitely listen to your recruiter, and nothing you sign is going to legally bind you into joining. Until you get on that plane or bus and you're at basic training, right? Right before that point, you could say, I don't want to do it, and you're not in the military. So you can do everything, see what you want, branch out, talk to other branches, but get the information first. Because information can never hurt you. It can only make you better.
Right.
You know?
Right. And help you make a better decision.
Exactly.
You know, and learning what the different branches offer.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I was talking with another recruiter, and she was what was it? Maintenance on a ship.
Yeah.
You know, and just like all these things you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different
Yeah.
jobs.
Oh yeah, we have over 150 jobs.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to be talking about that next time with y'all.
What about you? How would you?
So I may have interpreted the question differently, but I guess the way I would what I would tell them is, how do you want to look back on your life? Like when you're old in a rocking chair on your front porch, like, do you want to have this adventure, this experience to tell your grandkids about? And like, that's how I was looking at it, but he dissected it very well. That's basically how I looked at it. Basically how I look at challenges. Like every challenge I encounter now is like when I went to selection, I was like, I have to try, because if I don't, I'm always going to wonder what if. So I have to like at least try. Because I could fail 1,000 times, I'm only going to learn from it. But,
for sure. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody out there is looking to maybe have a conversation with you about this, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. You could find us here in Crystal Lake on 14 at the Army Recruiting Center, right behind the IHOP.
Nice.
Yeah. Or you could follow us on Instagram. Mine is Christian_Mendez _go Army.
Mine is SSG_LEGGZ. Legs.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys showing up today.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having us.
It was a lot of fun with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I would love to have you guys come back.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
Some of the other ones too.
Yes. I love that.
If, you know, you're not on like the secret missions. Or anything.
Yeah, we can get into deployment stories a little bit.
Yeah.
And fill it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't have enough peanut butter. Right.
You got me.
All right, folks. Well, hey, listen. You've heard it here. Roger That Chronicles, Chris Boston. Until next time, we bid you adieu. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, 216 Creator Studios. Till next time, take care, folks.
Thank you.